A senior member of the Roman Catholic Church in Australia has rejected a key recommendation of a landmark inquiry into child sex abuse. It said priests should report abuse confided to them, even in the secret context of the confessional. But the Archbishop of Melbourne said any priest who broke the seal of confession would be excommunicated. This means they would cease to be a member of the church and would no longer be allowed a Catholic funeral. The most relevant Dennis Hart said a law requiring this of priests would undermine a central tenet of Catholicism, the sacredness of the confessional. The seal of the confessional, or the relationship with God that's carried through the priest and with the person, is inviolable, he said. In a statement, the Vatican said the report deserved to be studied seriously. The 5-year inquiry's final report said institutions had seriously failed to protect children. Letters from survivors. These institutions included the churches, and the report found that 62% of abuse cases in religious institutions were in Catholic institutions. Religious ministers and school teachers were the most commonly reported perpetrators, the report said. The report also called on the Catholic Church to overhaul its celibacy rules. The Royal Commission, Australia's highest form of public inquiry, heard more than 8,000 testimonies from victims of abuse, with accusations covering schools, churches and sports clubs over decades. It is not a case of a few rotten apples, the report said. Society's major institutions have seriously failed. The problems have been so widespread, and the nature of the abuse so heinous, that it is difficult to comprehend. Since 2013, the Royal Commission has referred more than 2,500 allegations to authorities. Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull said a national tragedy had been exposed. Who did the inquiry speak to? The Royal Commission into Institutional Responses to Child Sexual Abuse had the power to look at any private, public or non-government body involved with children. It was contacted by more than 15,000 people. More than 8,000 victims told their stories, many for the first time. The scope of the inquiry. 2,559. Allegations referred to police since the inquiry began in 2013. 230 prosecutions have commenced. 41,770 calls received from members of the public. 60,000 survivors may be eligible for compensation, estimates say. Royal Commission into Institutional Responses to Child Sexual Abuse. Getty Images. The Commission also received more than 1,300 written accounts and held 57 public hearings across the nation. Allegations were raised against more than 4,000 institutions. What did it recommend? The report on Friday urged Australian Catholic bishops to petition the Vatican to amend canon law to allow priests to report sexual abuse disclosed to them during confession. It also said the Catholic Church should consider making celibacy voluntary for priests because while it was not a direct cause of child sexual abuse, it had contributed to the occurrence of child sexual abuse, especially when combined with other risk factors. Among its other major findings, the inquiry recommended survivor accounts, extracts from the final report. Names have been changed in the report to protect the identities of the survivors.